We need men to talk to men. I want to speak to that. I want to back up a second. 50 Cent, I was in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was there doing a free conference for the people, which I thought was great. And some would consider that, I guess, a humanitarian effort. What I'm hearing that he's doing at the UN tomorrow, I think that's cool. But I really think that we as men have to think past that. Now, we need to keep digging in our pockets because we need to. But there's a collective socialization amongst men. Collectively, we've been taught to have less value in women, to view them as the property of men, and to view them as objects, particularly sexual objects. We see that as an actual equation. If you add that up, it equals violence against women. Now, there's this body of us, the majority of us, who don't perpetrate the violence, but we're all part of that equation. And it's not whether I'm part of that equation, it's how am I a part of that equation, and what am I doing to change it. It's not whether the men here are part of that equation. They are, I know they are, because they're men. So it's not whether we are, it's how are we, and what are we doing to change that. And so with role models, they're very, very important, and we need them to be able to speak to that message. We need to fast forward this thing, and we need to expedite it. And we use men, we use the men who men look up to. A man's man is what he's called. We do a lot of work with athletics. We do a tremendous amount of work with the National Football League. We put out a book with them. It's like a coffee table book called Dedicated to Daughters, where we have the players speak about their love for their daughters and use that as a venue to speak out against violence against women. Because see, through the eyes of a man's daughter, he sees the world completely different than he would in general. So I could be talking to him about the role of men in general, and then I switch it to the man that his daughter's partnered with, and he gets conflicting. You know, his points of view conflict. I can ask him, how would you feel if you seen a man abusing his wife? Is that anybody's business? And he may very well say no. Well, what if I seen a man abusing your daughter and you wasn't there? Should I step? And he would say, please do. So we get really conflicted. We like that conflict that we can create in men because that conflict has them thinking and rethinking. We believe that if you can reach in and grab a man's heart, because we got to get to this with men from an emotional place. An intellectual place doesn't really move us, but if we can get to men through an emotional place, I appreciate when you was talking about telling stories, that gets men's wheels turning, gets to our emotions, gets us a little excited, and then we want to get men to a place of discomfort where they can no longer just continue to sit by and watch, and then you get action when you get men to that place of discomfort. Men who men look up to have the ability to do that in a more expeditious way than just everyday guys. And so law enforcement men are men who men look up to. Military men, those are men's men. Pro athletes are men that men look up to. Men who have power, particularly, any men who have power. So whether it's in the entertainment, in sports, whether it's economically speaking, wherever you have men with power, those are the men that men look up to. And so, but they can't just come and talk. They got to live. We can't just put them in front of boys and talk, and then they go back to doing what they was doing. They got to be willing to live what they're talking about. There's a challenge there in bringing those two together. I don't know how 50 Cent lives in his personal life. He might be a great guy, but I want him to do more than just put up money. I want him to live and demonstrate that and share that and teach that to boys.